Hi, Empress Justice here, and this is everything that I have learned about Taurus. Now, this is what I've learned about Taurus. Taurians are attractive, but they're not attractive in the sense that, they're beautiful or they have great aesthetic. No, they're attractive in a sensual sense where they are pleasing to the senses. It doesn't actually matter that much how they look, although some Taurians can be very attractive in the face. Their attractiveness comes more from how they make people feel physically rather than what they look like. Okay, and it's because of that that a lot of people tend to feel comfortable with them, with evolved Taurians anyway. People tend to feel comfortable with them. People tend to feel safe with them. They are incredibly harmony loving. They love to keep everything just so, not necessarily in the sense of being neat and organized, although a lot of them are. They just like everything to be harmonious and pleasant and peaceful at all times, which is why they normally find themselves in the role of peacekeeper. It's why they usually find themselves defending their loved ones to the hilt, even when their loved ones are wrong. Harmony is where a Taurian truly lives. And on top of that, Taurians are actually incredibly idealistic and want the best possible things that they can get for themselves and other people. So Taurians, harmony loving, idealistic, not just materialistic, okay? That's a misconception. They just want to get the very best out of life and out of the blessings they receive. Speaking of which, the blessings that Taurians receive, this is what I notice about the spring zodiac signs, okay? Like Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. They tend to be in receipt of a lot of wonderful blessings in life. Where Taurus is concerned, though, is Taurus usually receives an abundance of raw materials. Pisces are blessed because they receive the beauty of life, like they are blessed with beautiful things. Arians are blessed with receiving refined things. Taurians, on the other hand, receive raw materials, raw abundance, molds of clay that can be shaped, molds of clay that Taurians are supposed to shape and turn into something wonderful. And a Taurian's taste usually is as close to nature as possible. So their style very rarely changes over the years because, they're as close to their own personal nature or the nature of the world around them as they possibly can be. So that is often where a Taurian's aesthetic taste and their taste in, music and art and also their sense of harmony comes from. How close is it to my physical comfort? The type of beauty I want to create in the world and in my environment, how close is it to what my body wants to feel? How close is it to what I want other people to feel? So it's all about physical sensation and physical comfort and physical harmony. And that is what is always in the back of a Taurian's mind whenever they take the abundance they've been given and they shape that abundance into something new. They want to create something in harmony with nature that stands the test of time. So yes, Taurians are incredibly blessed in receiving the raw materials to be shaped by by Taurus's very, very keen eye. Okay. On top of that, Taurians can be blessed with social cohesion. They can often be, they can often fit into society quite well. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's not going to be on the same level as maybe a Gemini, but Taurians can be very popular within their community. So they're blessed with raw materials to work with, and they're also blessed with being popular with the communities around them. This is something that I've observed from a lot of Taurians. The insecurities that Taurians have, though, they all revolve around two things: their relationship with change and their relationship with the truth. Now, Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Change is not something that they love. They don't love it. Not unless they feel like they're the ones who are controlling the change. I think that's most people, but it can be especially pronounced when it comes to Taurus. And when it comes to the truth, Taurus has a very complex relationship with that because Taurus likes to represent itself, or Taurians like to represent themselves as people with integrity, people who walk their talk, who stand in their truth, who tell the truth, but then when they're challenged with it, they can fold. So when it comes to change and the truth, they like it if they're in control of it. If they are the ones who knows everybody's business, if they are the ones who knows everybody else's truth, they're fine with that. But as soon as you turn that spotlight on them, they can sometimes weaponize a version, or sometimes be like, I'm not supposed to be challenged, or I'm not supposed to. Yeah, they don't like the truth when, they are on the receiving end of it. They don't like the truth then. They don't like change when they can't control it. So although they do like the idea of the truth and they like the idea of change, they don't necessarily like it. They only like it so long as they can represent themselves as, once again, being in touch with their own nature and in touch with the nature of their surroundings, right? They like to have a very salt of the earth mentality when it comes to themselves, and sometimes, I'm not going to lie, like, that can be a little bit performative. I'm not going to lie, it can be illusory. It can be a little bit performative. So yeah, Taurians, when they find themselves in situations that lack, a sense of harmony, yeah, they can be a little bit shook. And a lot of people think that because Taurians are strong and because Taurians have a quiet strength about them, it means that Taurians don't get rattled. Taurians actually get very rattled. They get extremely rattled, especially when things seem to be uncertain or there's too much truth happening. They get very rattled, very panicked, very anxious. Okay. It's kind of amazing how Taurus ends up being in charge of really big undertakings time and time again, because big undertakings, big undertakings revolve around managing huge transformations and managing like massive groups of other people. And it's kind of funny how Taurians always find themselves in charge. I think because they have a good eye and they have a good understanding of organization. But again, these people are very anxious and panicky when it comes to anything lacking harmony. Doesn't take long for them to get snippy. So it kind of reveals an internal layer of not necessarily corrosiveness, but of sensitivity of a Taurian person. Taurians are deceptively sensitive, and this is the reason why they want everything their own way. It's not necessarily because they're selfish. They're not selfish people, first of all. A lot of Taurians are not selfish. This is where like Taurians can appear to be selfish even though they're not. It's because they're so emotional, they're so innately sensitive that they can find themselves needing an anchor in physical stability. That's why too much truth and too much change beyond seed level worries them. Because the truth that is not cohesive. The whole truth is not cohesive because people always pick what they want out of the truth. And change is not cohesive because it involves disrupting what's already there. So unless it's a seed of truth and a seed of change, Taurians are not good at handling it because they need that physical stability to ground their emotions. There is a great emotional interiority there, which is part of the reason why they're so connected with their sensuality. And when we talk about sensuality, we are not talking about sex. Let's be clear. We're talking about true connectivity to the physical world and to physical sensations. That's what we're talking about when we talk about sensuality. And that connection with sensuality and connection with the physical is exactly is exactly what grounds a very emotional and very sensitive Taurian. The world is their anchor. And when it's stable, they feel grounded. That was everything that I've learned about Taurus. I will see you in the next reading. Bye bye, my darlings.